I need to know what you're expecting out of this movie.
I'm expecting to leave very sad.
Very sad.
I'm pretty nervous about it. I'm excited, but I'm nervous. At least 2 people have to die.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive. I don't see any way that this ends happily. And I don't know what theories are going to be proven correct, but most of the ones that I've read on the internet so far just about make me want to cry already. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, guys, this doesn't seem promising. I feel like there's no way this movie can end on a good note. Because they have to, like, set it up for the next movie. So we're gonna be crying, and we're gonna be sad. Someone's gonna die.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it has to be, one of them has to be Leia.
Well,
right?
Yeah, absolutely. She has to die.
So she has to die. If Luke and Leia die in this movie,
freaking quit watching it.
You think? Wait, hold on. You think it's gonna be both?
I think both of them are gonna die.
No way.
Why?
I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna go for like the worst possible scenario to make everybody sad about it. It's kind of where I'm going.
You know, expect the worst, hope for the best. But I don't even know if I can hope for the best.
Fair enough.
So we'll see, fans. We'll see.
Hello everyone, Taylor here, and today we are going to be talking The Last Jedi. I went to go see it with a group of friends last night. I thought about recording this last night after I saw the movie, but I wanted to give myself a little bit of time to try and emotionally and mentally unpack everything that I saw in that movie. Right off the bat, I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of my non-spoiler thoughts, and then I have a whole notebook worth of notes here, a couple pages of what I want to talk about. So, first of, so I want to start off by saying I love this movie. I am on that side of the line because this movie has seemed to be very polarizing. So I am on the side of the line that really, really enjoyed this movie a lot. I thought it was bold. I thought it was imaginative. I thought it was a great way to world build, to expand this world and this universe of Star Wars. I just thought it was amazing. I was so invested in everything that happened, and I really love the choices that Rian Johnson made in this movie. I thought that all of the performances in this movie by the cast were incredible. I think that Adam Driver as Kylo Ren in this movie is just terrific. Just terrific. He was great as Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens, but in this movie he really just takes it to a whole nother level. Like, Kylo in this movie completely blows me away, and I love it. I'm so here for it. I'm really, really excited to see what he's going to do in episode 9 and where his character arc is going to go from what we got in this movie. I really, really enjoyed the time that we got to spend with Luke. This was not a side of Luke that I thought we were ever actually going to get to see, but I really like that it went there. I like that his character took this turn that it did. I thought it was needed. I thought it was necessary. I really liked the score in this movie. I thought that it complemented the movie well. Right when the opening crawl happened and it started panning through the stars, it's like, yes, we're home, we're here, this is fantastic. I thought that it was paced very nicely. It didn't feel like it dragged at all. It flew by, and I was completely engaged the whole time. I thought the way it was shot was great. It looked very visually striking. I loved the tone of the movie. It had its light and its dark. It had its balancing the Force kind of tone. It had those moments where it was dramatic and it was real and it was grounded, and then it had its moments of humor and its moments of very, you know, out of this world concepts that Star Wars does have. So I really liked the tone and just kind of how it flowed through the movie. Guys, it's really, really hard for me to talk about this without spoiling it. Like, I'm trying to give you guys a non-spoiler review here, but it's really hard for me because all I want to do is talk details. So the last thing I'm going to say as a part of this little beginning non-spoiler part is I think that even though people seem to be leaving either loving this movie or having a lot of issues with it and really, really fighting against liking it, I would advise you to go see it for yourself. I would also advise you, if you can, to go in without expectations. And I know that's hard because I went in with expectations, but as soon as you hear that music, you see the Lucasfilm logo, and you see a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away pop up, you've got to let it go. You've got to be in the moment, and you've got to be willing to experience this new Star Wars story without holding so tightly onto the things that you're expecting to see and the things that you absolutely are, like, have your heart set on seeing. Because as much fun as it is to speculate and get hyped up for this movie and these kind of movies, for me, I had to let all of that go and just go in and just let myself watch it. Because if I would have gone in with the expectations that I had set for myself through all of the theorizing and over the last 2 years of just kind of thinking about where I personally wanted to see the story go, it would have been very, very tough for me to embrace this movie because, you know, my expectations for this universe and my ideas aren't always going to match up with the directors and the screenplay writers and the people at Disney and Lucasfilm and everything else. So if you haven't seen it, please go see it, and please go in with an open mind, just ready to enjoy a new kind of Star Wars movie with new elements and old elements, and yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. It is definitely in my top 3 Star Wars movies now, just so you guys know. But let's get into some spoiler talk here because I'm about to explode. So I've only seen the movie once. I debated whether or not I wanted to go see it twice before I did this review. I'm probably going to end up going to see it again tonight, honestly. So, starting off, I really enjoyed the opening scene a lot. I like the tone that it set for the movie of showing, hey, we're in the middle of this battle. Like, we're starting off and the First Order's coming after us. And, you know, as the Resistance, we gotta get him off our tail. We gotta take him down. It was really had me on the edge of my seat that the Resistance maybe was not gonna really make it out of this one. It could have, from the way that it looked, it could have absolutely been that they get captured right then and there. That could have been how it started. But I really loved the scene with Rose's sister. I can't remember her name, but Rose's sister, where she's kicking it and she's kicking it and she's trying to get that detonator to fall, and she's clutching onto her necklace, and she's putting everything she can into trying to knock the detonator into her hand. And you see it fall, and for like 2 whole seconds I thought that she had missed it. And then you see her reach out and grab it, and it was just like a sigh of relief where I visibly was like, oh man, like this first 10-15 minutes in the movie and I'm already just like, guys, I'm stressed out. So I really enjoyed that a lot. I really, really liked the first exchange that Poe and Finn have in the movie, where BB-8 is just kind of like, Finn, like, water, naked, something like that, where he just says all these random words about Finn, apparently, and then we see Finn walking around in that bag, just leaking everywhere, and it pulled at my heartstrings that the first thing we hear Finn talk about, where's Rey? That is, like, I'm pretty sure a universal expectation that everybody had. Like, every fan fiction that I've read for the most part, like when he wakes up, those are the first words out of his mouth are, "Where's Rey?" So I love that so much. Now, the rest of these notes are gonna get kind of crazy. They're gonna get a little bit out of order here, so I apologize for that, but I was kind of just writing and going with it. So, the one scene that I'm just kind of battling with myself, having a little bit of an internal battle that I don't know if I like it, is the scene where Kylo, I like the first part of the scene where Kylo gets in his ship and is going after the ship that his mother is in, that Leia is in. And you see him fighting with himself whether he's going to push that button or not. Because his target is locked and he's ready to go. And he doesn't do it, which I loved. I thought that was great. But then somebody else does it for him and you see her fly out. And I honestly was terrified that that was it. That's how Leia was going to go. That's how they were going to get Carrie Fisher out of it. And I couldn't believe it. And then we see her floating and I was like, I don't want to see this. I don't want to see her die. Like, I'm not prepared for this. And then we see her use the Force, which I have wanted to see. I'm really, really glad we got to see how powerful she is in the Force. I just don't think that I liked the way it played out. It just looked it just looked like it didn't fit into the movie, I guess, and it kind of took me out of it for a second. I don't know, it reminded me of Star-Lord. It really did. So I'm still kind of battling with myself a little on that one, and maybe when I see it a second time my mind will change. But, so there was that, and then, let's see. So, Rose and Finn, their first encounter, I thought it was cute. Like, I like how Finn doesn't know how to handle people recognizing him, and he's just kind of like awkward. So that was fun. And then Rose is adorable. I think she's a fantastic character. I like how she is like, this is my hero, but I have to stun him because he's trying to run away. And I like the little conversation they have about how they're being tracked even when they're jumping through light speed. So that was cool. I like them trying to explain it to Poe. That was good. I like that. Laura Dern's character, at first I freaking could not stand her. Like, I was so aggravated. I was like, don't be talking to Poe that way. He's doing his best, alright? He's stressed out. Like, come on. But, inevitably, her character was the best. Like, she's fantastic. And I kind of like how they trick you into it, where at first you're like, I don't know if I trust this lady. Like, what's she doing? And then by the end of her character arc, you're like, well, dang. But I'll get a little bit more into that in a second. I'm trying to kind of keep in order here. I love the Kylo and Hux relationship in this movie, just building upon what we had in The Force Awakens, where they're just bickering like siblings basically, and they're trying to one-up each other with Snoke, like they're trying to get Dad's approval and like be the better one. So I thought that was fun. They're just funny together, and I love that dynamic. I thought it was really interesting to see the confrontation between Snoke and Kylo at the beginning of the movie, where he's like freaking telling him off. He is not happy with Kylo. He's telling him he's got a ridiculous mask and he's just like basically a Vader wannabe, but he's not doing what he should be doing and all this stuff. So that, I was like, dang, Kylo's not going to be happy about that. And he was not. He smashed the hell out of that helmet and he was freaking done. But I liked that. I really, I enjoyed that. I like how I was like, fine, you know what? Guess I'm not going to be Vader. Guess I don't need this anymore. And he's kind of starting to come into his own a little bit there. And then when we go to the island, I personally, like, love the fact that it was built up for, like, 2 years. What is Luke going to say the first time that he talks to Rey when she tries to hand him the lightsaber? And he just, like, takes it and freaking throws it. I love that. I thought that was so funny. Because she was just like, what is like, hello? I love the freaking adorable caretakers on the island. They were hilarious and they were so cute, and I thought that the humor played out perfectly with them and how they just can't stand Rey just because of the timing of the things that she does and the things that happen when she's around. How they're just like, this girl is just destroying our island, making more work for us to do. Like, what is happening? So that was great. I really loved them. Now, the Kylo and Rey communication through this movie is brilliant. The way they did it is absolutely brilliant, and I loved every second. Anytime Kylo and Rey shared screen time, including these Force conversations, were my favorite parts of the movie, period. Every single time that Kylo and Rey have some kind of scene together, I was just completely drawn in, and I love it. I love that Rian Johnson played with that relationship so much in this movie because it really, really paid off in big ways. I love also how they're both kind of trying to figure out how it works, because Kylo knows that she's not powerful enough to do it, and he knows he's not the one doing it, because the first time she sees him, she can't believe it. Like, she picks up her blaster and blasts through the wall, and the caretakers are like, what are you doing, girl? Like, calm down. But he's there, and only she can see him, and he's confused. And they establish that they can only see each other, but they can't see where they are or what their surroundings are. And they're very confused, and I really, really like that it starts there, where they're just like, what is happening? I like the confrontation with Rey and Luke, where he's like, who are you? Like, legitimately, who are you? And she's like, oh, I'm just, the resistance sent me, I'm nobody. Like, it's like, where are you from? Nowhere. It's like, okay, Rey from nowhere, like, seriously, what's up? She's like, oh, I'm from Jakku. And he's like, all right, Jakku is pretty much nowhere. Like, I thought that was great. I liked that line a lot, just because he's like, yeah, I guess you're right. I guess you are technically from nowhere. But, guys, super important, okay? Porg life is the only life. I was so freaking excited to see the Porgs going into this movie. And coming out of this movie, I love Porgs so much more. They had me laughing and smiling every time they were on screen, and I'm really sad that I can't actually have a Porg. So, just wanted to point that out while we're there. I was surprised how much Billie Lourd we got in this movie, but I really, really liked it a lot. I liked that we got to see Carrie Fisher and Billie Lourd on screen together again, and that she got to play a part in this universe. That made me happy. I love when Luke is like, all right, fine, I'll train you. And she's sitting on the rock, and he's like, all right, reach out. And she reaches out, and she's like, okay. And he takes the foliage, like the leaf, and is like, do you feel it? And she's like, oh yeah, I do. And he freaking slaps her. He's like, what are you doing? Don't be an idiot. Like, I love sassy Luke. Sassy Luke moments make me so happy. It kind of reminds me of Yoda when Yoda was training Luke. So that scene was awesome. I loved it so much. I love how when Kylo and Rey talk, their world starts to bleed together more. So we see them communicate again, and this time it's raining where Rey is, and then you see when they stop talking, when the connection is broken, that Kylo has raindrops on his glove. So that, I was like, man, this is the way they're doing this and fusing this together. Like, it's not a complete connection between the two, but it's enough, and it's kind of starting to bleed together. It just made me so happy. I was so excited. The scene with Chewbacca and the Porgs, where he has cooked a Porg, and he's there trying to eat it, and all these Porgs are just like, giving him the sad face, like looking at him, and he starts to feel so guilty that he just can't. He's like, are you serious? All I'm trying to do is eat, and I got all these Porgs looking at me. Like, the Porgs stole this show. Like, Kylo and Rey, Porgs. Okay, not really, but seriously. The Porg life is the life that chose me. I didn't choose this, guys. What else? I absolutely adored the scene between Luke and R2-D2. I was not expecting that, but I loved it. We got a glimpse of the old Luke, who was really excited to see R2 and kind of got that light back in his eyes a little bit, and seeing him be like, there's nothing you can do that's gonna make me do this. And R2's like, oh really? Hold my beer, and puts the projection of Leia, the message for Obi-Wan, and he's just like, you had to go there. You had to do this to me. So that was wonderful. That was a perfect little callback that they did. I really, really enjoyed the fact that Luke came to the decision to help train Rey, but because he wanted to show her why the Jedi are flawed and why the ways of the Jedi need to end, and how he tried to explain to her that yes, he is a legend and the Jedis are legends, but when you look past that and you look at the history of what happened and you look at the actions of the Jedi and how literally everything fell apart right in front of their faces because they were caught up in the fanfare of it all and they weren't actually paying attention and they weren't choosing to do the right things. And so I thought that was really, really great the way that they did that. Now, I think this is the part of the movie that most people have a problem with when they go to Canto Bight to the casino planet. I didn't mind it so much, but it definitely was not my favorite. That's for sure. I did enjoy the fact that it ties it to the prequels in the sense that there is the racing, you know, of the animals that betting is done on, kind of like the pod racing, and how there are children that are slaves and are forced to work in this and do all this stuff. So I liked the way that it tied the universe together a little bit like that. I like the part where BB-8 starts shooting coins. Like, I thought that was really funny because he's like, oh, you guys are gonna put coins in me? Well, alright, that's how I'm gonna take you out. That's just what's gonna have to happen. So I liked that. I like the fact that we get to learn a little bit more about Rose while we're on this planet, where she came from, what her motivations are, things like that. I really loved the scene with Benicio del Toro's character when he takes the necklace as payment and Finn is like, excuse you? What are you doing? Like, that necklace is so important to her and you're gonna take it. And then we see him give it back after he's done with it, after it's served its purpose for him. And that made me smile. I was like, all right, you're okay, man. And then, of course, he comes back and betrays them, because of course. So then we go back to the island and we see Rey fall into the darkness. We see her trying to explore what the darkness is, trying to find out what's calling to her down there, what message it's trying to give her. I really loved the snapping. That was really cool, the way that it just travels through. That was really, really cool. I thought that was very well done. And I love how she goes through it all and she doesn't get anything she's looking for. She gets no answers. She just ends up being more confused. And I love, love, love the fact that she goes to Kylo. They have that connection and she goes to him and is like, I came here for answers and I feel more alone. Like, the opposite of what I was trying to accomplish has happened. And how he understands her. He knows what that's like to completely feel alone and feel lost and not know what to do. And I love that. I love that so much. And just the quiet, real, tender moments of conversation that they have together really just blew me away. It just blew me away. It was fantastic. And then I love the fact that he opens up to her about what happened in the Jedi Temple flashbacks. Like, we actually get to see Luke's version and Kylo's version and then Luke's revised version of what happens. And we get to see that, yeah, he was being pulled to the dark side and Luke sensed that, but Luke just pushed him over the edge by even entertaining the thought of killing him. And he wakes up at the very wrong moment and sees what Luke's about to do and just snaps, and Kylo Ren is created. And I love how we finally get to see them touch through this connection. Like, we see physically what can actually happen And we see their hands come together, and Luke barges in and he starts tearing stuff apart and is like, no, this is not going to happen. And then we see a confrontation between Rey and Luke, a very physical one where they're fighting, which is very intense, and you can tell that she's just mad. She's mad that he's not going to do anything. He's just staying stagnant. He's on the island. He's not trying to bring Kylo back. He's given up, it seems like, in her eyes, and he tells her, it's like, this is not going to go the way you think it's going to go. And her stance, even if that's true in her mind, and even if she knows maybe it's not going to go the way she thinks, her stance on it is, you got to do this or I've got to do this. So if you're going to stay here and you're not going to go and you're not going to do this, then I have to. And I love that. I think that's such a great moment for her character to be like, look, I have to do what's right. And what's right is I sense the light in him still, and I need to go get him. So I love that. And then my favorite scene in the entire movie. So she goes to find Kylo, and then her and Kylo get an audience with Snoke. And he's praising Kylo. Snoke is so happy with what he's managed to do, that he's brought Rey to him. And he goes on this tangent about how she was foolish to fall for the trap that Snoke had set by allowing them to communicate with each other, for creating that connection, and how he knows what's in Kylo's mind and knew exactly what to do to manipulate both of them in that connection. And you can still see, she's like, you know, you're underestimating him, you're underestimating me, you're underestimating Luke. And she is not backing down at all. She's like, I'm not even scared of you. I don't even care. And we see that he tries to get what he wants out of her. He is doing his Force thing, trying to get her thoughts out, get the information he needs, and then the most pivotal point in the movie for me, when he lowers her down, kneeling on both knees in front of Kylo, and he says, you know, Kylo, you gotta do this. You gotta defeat your greatest enemy right now and do this. And I was like, this is it. This is now or never right here. Either he betrays Snoke right here, or, you know, or it's gonna be Luke that comes in. Like, it's gotta be one or the other. Either he has to bail on Snoke for some reason, or like Luke or whoever has to come in and intervene here. And I love that Snoke's overconfidence in his ability to read Kylo, and just his complete overestimation of himself and his plan, and, you know, not actually paying attention to what's happening is his downfall, because we see Kylo slowly turn because we see Kylo slowly turning that lightsaber next to him towards him and ignites it, and he chops him in half and pulls the lightsaber to him. And then we see all chaos break loose, because she grabs a saber and he grabs a saber, and they're just tearing it up. That whole fight scene is incredible. The choreography is amazing. Like, it's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful scene. And I love how at the end, like, Kylo is struggling. He's getting choked out a little bit, and Rey looks at him, throws him the lightsaber. He catches it, turns it on briefly, and, like, that is the most badass scene. Freaking, I was so pumped. And then we don't know what's gonna happen. Is he gonna turn? Is she gonna turn? Is there gonna be no turn? I was kind of hoping to see one of them turn, but I also don't mind the way it went. I like that we now have Kylo's motives established, now that he's not answering to anyone. He doesn't have Snoke trying to control him or anything like that, so we know what his personal goals are, and now it's up to him to figure out what he's trying to accomplish, and how he feels about things. And Rey, she's not willing to budge. She knows what her cause is, she knows what she believes in, and I thought that scene was great. I love how they break the freaking lightsaber in half. That was insane. So yeah, that was really something else. Oh my gosh, you guys, I forgot to mention something so important. Shout out to my man, Rian Johnson, because we got shirtless Kylo. Completely unnecessary shirtless Kylo, and it was the best. I love how Rey was like, can you please just like do something about this, like put something on, or like just, and then I literally in the theater was like, oh my, thank you Rian Johnson, you the bae. But it's completely unnecessary to like the movie, and like doesn't really make sense, but I'm totally about it. Like, A+, man. That, yes, good things. Something I definitely was not expecting to see in this movie, but that I'm really, really excited we got to see, was Yoda. I was not expecting Yoda to show up at all, but it was perfect. I love that Yoda came in and was like, Luke, apparently someone's gotta talk sense into you, so I guess it's gotta be me. And he comes in and he's like, Luke, those books, like, that's not where it's at. There is important stuff in there, but they're not page turners, and that's not that's not everything. Like, our experience, as our apprentices and as the younger people outgrow us and we get older, we take these failures that we had, and it's can be a lesson. It's something that we can use to teach, and it can be a teachable thing. And I love that Yoda totally knew that Rey had already taken the books, and so he freaking lit the thing on fire. And Luke is like, what are we gonna do without these ancient books? Oh no. But I honestly, it just made me happy to see those two back on screen together again, and to see Yoda again being like, Luke, come on. Apparently I gotta be the one to like slap you upside the head here. I really, really loved the character arc. We're gonna come back to this now. For Holdo's character, for Laura Dern's character, the fact that she was like, I know this plan is gonna work, but the only way it can work is if I stay behind to make sure it works. And when it all starts to crumble and it starts to fall apart and it looks like hope is gone again, she steps in and says no. And she turns the ship and she light speeds right into it. And the fact that it cut to no sound, that it was completely silent. The theater was completely silent. You could hear a pin drop. The only things you could kind of hear from people were quiet gasps. And it was just the effect that scene had was so powerful and so unbelievable. And it's so memorable and absolutely one of my favorite moments in the entire movie. It was shot so beautifully, and the impact was just so high from that deafening silence. It was fantastic. So when we end up on the planet for the final battle, I loved the scenery of it all. I thought the red and the white contrast was beautiful. It was so gorgeous. I didn't at all mind the fact that Rose saves Finn, but I don't know, something about the kiss just doesn't sit right with me. I wouldn't mind it if their story becomes something in episode 9, if they do have a romance, fine, but I don't know, I feel like that kiss was kind of weirdly placed, but I digress on that. I love how Kylo Ren has so much anger towards the Millennium Falcon that as soon as it shows up, he's just so mad, and his goal is to just shoot it out of the sky. The Luke and Leia conversation definitely broke me. That was really hard to watch because unless they've already, had already shot some stuff for episode 9, if Luke does end up coming back as a Force ghost or something like that. It's the last scene we're going to get of Luke and Leia together. And it's the last time that that we're going to see Mark and Carrie like that in their characters. So that made me kind of sad, but it was great. It was lovely. It was a lovely scene. But now the Luke and the Kylo confrontation. Oh boy. Oh man. I did not know what to expect out of that at all. And it was just, it had me on the edge of my seat the entire time. I did not realize or pick up on any of the clues that he was force projecting himself. And I didn't notice the fact that when he slid, he didn't kick up any of the salt like Kylo did. I didn't really question the fact that he looked a little younger, but just the fact that he had enough power, that he was powerful enough to do that, to do something that we've never seen before like that was, it was just mind-blowing. And to see him confront Kylo and say, if you strike me down out of hate and out of anger, I will be with you forever, like your father. That was something so powerful. And yeah, that I wasn't prepared to have Luke die in this movie, but I don't think that's the last we've seen of him. I think that he'll end up coming back somehow, whether it's as a Force ghost or whatever it is, or flashbacks or whatever. I think we'll see him in episode 9. Now, the scene where the Resistance finally finds another way out of their little cave, and when we see Rey lift all of the rocks and use all of her Force powers that she now has been trained to use, and they're all just staring at her in awe. That was beautiful. I'm so happy about that. It makes me so happy to see that she gets to come in and actually use that. It was a great moment. I don't know. I just felt really happy about it. And to finally see her and Finn reunited! Oh, I was like, that hug made me so happy. I was, oh man, they were so worried about each other, and they finally were able to just like breathe and give each other a hug. Oh my gosh, that was a moment I've been waiting for 2 years. Like, their reunion was so important to me because they stuck together through thick and thin in The Force Awakens and like just had this special bond of friendship. Ugh, that moment was so special. Another moment that I was hoping would happen, but I'm like, can't believe they left it for the last minute. Rey and Poe finally get to meet each other. They finally get introduced. Ugh. And guys, new ship. I totally ship that. Didn't ship that before, but just those couple seconds when they're looking at each other, I ship it now. I'm about it. I still would prefer to see Poe and Finn get together, but since that's probably never going to happen and is only going to happen in my fanfiction readings and in my little nerd dreams, I would be completely okay with seeing Poe and Rey get together. So hopefully they'll get to interact some more in episode 9. That would be fantastic. To close it off, the closing scene. That was not at all how I was expecting it to end. But I actually really liked it. I think that it was really important to show that, hey, those kids are still on that planet living the slave life, but even though the Resistance feels so beaten down and they've lost so many people and there's so few of them left, they're still spreading hope throughout the galaxy. They're still bringing hope and that message to people throughout the galaxy. And that's so important to have that and to establish that. And it's also showing that there are still Force sensitive people out there that can be trained, that they can bring the Jedi Order back. They absolutely have the potential to do that. And so I thought that was a really cool place to leave that, just to kind of give that little teaser of like, hey, this is like, there's still hope. It's a very interesting way to kind of wrap it all up. But I enjoyed it. So overall, I'm very, very happy with how this movie turned out. As you can see, I pretty much love everything about it. I just had a couple things here and there that I was like, nah, whatever. But I loved it so much. Please leave your comments down below. Let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. I want to talk to you guys down there, but please be respectful of each other and of other people's opinions. Thank you all so much for watching this. If you did, if you enjoyed your time here, please like, please like, please like. And if you didn't, thanks for watching anyway. I apologize for my voice being a little whack in this video. I'm for sure getting sick again, which is awesome. So I'm having a little bit of difficulty speaking and like not dying. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.